let's go to step number 2, SMART strategy. It's very important to use some kind of strategy. So let's take a look at this one. Your response needs to be relevant and sufficiently detailed to show that you understand what is required, that you possess the relevant core competency and can use it effectively. So relevant and sufficiently detailed. Very important, sufficiently, not richly detailed, but just enough detail for the audience to understand the whole picture, but not too much that you bore your audience. So you have to understand that you have to have a relevant core competency. So every question you have to bring yourself in that particular question, your skills, and tie it with the job description, tie it with the company value. Okay, so everything has to tie together with you and the company. Okay, it's not just you. And a lot of people fail their interviews because their response just focus on themselves. They don't focus on what they can do for the company. Okay, so we get this request a lot. So the STAR technique or the SMART, SMART strategy, are very, very similar. Okay, so S is situation, M is metrics. Metric is the number. Do you have a quantifiable number? A, action. R, results. And T is to tie up, to close. So that's the SMART, but I want to focus on this STAR technique because we talked about STAR technique in resume class or cover letter. I can't remember which one, but it's very important because once you understand that, it's very easy for you to come up with a very structured answer. So the benefit of using structure is that it's easy for your mind to create answers once you limit your thoughts. So when you have to describe a question or respond to a question, first you think of a challenge, you think of a situation, okay? And you have a task. So in this situation, what do you have to do? That's the responsibility. And in order for you to handle, to take care of that responsibility, what's the action? Okay, so that's the approach that you take. And finally, after you have a situation and your task is the responsibility that the role you are in this situation, and there's a problem for you to handle, what's the action for you to take? And finally, after you have taken the action, what's the results? What's the outcome? Okay? Once you show this STAR structure, the STAR technique in your response, it's very easy for the audience or the interviewer to understand what you're talking about. Okay? So, and remember that SMART strategy, I didn't put the slide in there because that STAR is overlapping, some of the things overlapping with SMART. But the thing is that the final T for SMART, to tie up. So you always have to close that response, okay? But anyway, we'll talk about that later. So for situations, you have to set the scene and give the necessary details of your example, okay? So talk about situation is very simple, okay? Because we have to start with situation, so we can talk about details after. And the next one is task. Describe what your responsibility was in that situation. Okay, so that's your task. And action is explain exactly what steps you took to address the problem, the challenge. And result is share what outcomes your action achieve. So it's very important for you to show action and result. Okay, so you don't give answers like I'm a very energetic and proactive person. And that's it. So the question, we talked about this before, is that when you tell me you are energetic and proactive person, as an interviewer, I should just trust you? who are you? I don't know you. This is the first time we meet. And so you come into my office and telling me that you're proactive and energetic and maybe trustworthy. Why should I trust you? Because there's no star, okay? There's no situation, task, action, result to convince me that I should trust you. And have a star means that I have some sort of reference, some sort of evidence that you have achieved something that we may need in the future, okay? So it's basically helping the interviewer to understand